Welcome back to Market on Close. I'm Caroline Woods in for Oliver Rennick. Let's discuss the commodities market with Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Hey there, Scott. Thanks for joining the show.
Hi, Caroline. How are you?
All right, so I'm good, Scott. So, I'm curious about your view on a day like today. We've seen an impressive comeback, still red arrows, but Kevin Green was just laying out the bullish technicals. But from your perspective, given the fact that there still is some chaos and uncertainty and questions that need to be answered, do you trade this kind of day, or do you just sit back and wait for some clarity?
You know, I actually got up this morning after being up most of the night watching markets overnight, thinking that this was going to be an incredibly busy day. Very opportunistic day, looking for really, good buy points, things on sale, and it never materialized, right? The overnight lows that we saw, we never saw those again during the day, really. And stocks didn't really sell off as much as I had thought they would. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that the volatility we saw overnight over the weekend is going away. It's not. Volatility is here to stay in the near term. The tariff issue is not over with. The DeepSeek issue is not over with. We're still in the middle of earnings season. And yes, we still have interest rates and the Fed. So, volatility, which is a trader's friend, is not going anywhere.
Okay. All right. Well, Bitcoin was below 93,000 overnight and now is up about 10 grand from that level. Did you buy that dip? Are you still waiting for lower levels to get in?
Boy, I'm in the shoulda, woulda, coulda camp on that one. No, I did not buy it. I'm still really, as we've spoken before, 75 to 78 is my level. If it's anybody that was watching Bitcoin overnight, what you saw was just this massive liquidation happen. And it was big whales just liquidating. And as soon as that happened, the market started to turn. Now, to see this kind of volatility, and the futures actually traded down to about 91.5. Now we're back up to almost 102. That is just absolutely crazy. I wish I would have bought the dip. I did not.
But why was there that liquidation overnight? Because, we were talking about this at the top of the show. We were talking about it earlier. Was it just that whole idea that it was risk off, take money out?
Yes.
Or was it something tied to the Trump administration, any fundamental change?
No, it was really uncertainty. The underlying theme for crypto, for Bitcoin, in terms of the administration, has not changed, right? If you want to look at it from that perspective, that is still very bullish. Now, I'm not necessarily a believer that just because the administration is really pro-crypto that we're going to see 120, 150, et cetera, in Bitcoin. But what happened overnight was absolutely just uncertainty about risk. It was liquidation, and probably people liquidating large gains that they had to free up some cash to place elsewhere.
Okay. All right. Interesting there. I also want to ask you about oil. Not a whole lot of volatility in oil, especially given the fact that those Canada tariffs still on as far as we know, and it's not 25% on oil, but it is 10%. Oil trading just below $73 a barrel now. Where do you expect that to go?
So as you know, we've had this discussion, often over the last several months. I've been an oil bear. I've wanted to sell every rip, which I have done. I am flatted now. I am flatted from when we had that last big run up. Anything can happen right now, but the overriding theme of supply and demand is still there is an oversupply and there is not enough demand. Regardless of what may happen with the tariffs, there is still enough supply out there for this marketplace. Now, we may see a little bit of a short-term shock to the upside. To me, that would be a perfect time to get shorted again. I truly think we see sub 70 sooner rather than later.
Even if the tariff goes through on the Canadian energy?
So if it goes through on the Canadian energy, again, I think we see a quick pop. We could probably see a 5% pop, maybe back to where we were, 77, maybe it gets to 78 or so. That's going to be, to me, a huge short. And then when the dust settles, when the shock to the system is gone, yes, I believe the underlying fundamentals are going to settle in, and we will see it come roaring back down.
So, Scott, do you think it's a quick pop with dust settling because we reach negotiations with Canada and the tariffs come off the table, or do you think it's just that the market kind of absorbs it and those tariffs stick?
I think it's a little bit of both, more so the second of what you just said, the latter, that the market absorbs it and maybe the tariffs stick and it's human nature, Caroline. We all know it's human nature. Once there's some uncertainty, the unknown out there, people panic. We all get nervous. But then once that settles down, right, the things tend to get back to normalcy. Just like volatility. Volatility is mean reverting. So when it's really cheap, it's always going to pop back up. And when it's really, really expensive, it's always going to come down and find that level.
Okay, and just finally on gold, are you in the shoulda, coulda, woulda with any of the run-up that we've seen in gold pretty close to the highs? Or
I absolutely am. I absolutely am in the Monday morning quarterback shoulda, woulda, coulda camp on that one as well. And there too, that one I believe has more room to run maybe than the others because if the tariffs are really put into place at some point, and that really brings in a big question of inflation rising again, what do people do? They go right to gold, right? It is such an inflation hedge. So that one is the one that, yes, I missed it. If there's a retreat, I want back in.
All right, safe harbor in oil. Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Thanks so much for breaking it all down for us. Always great to talk to you.